Get some hype in the chat, please, guys, for some very generous people on the sub gifts. Thank you so much. So much. I can never say it enough when you guys go a little crazy like that. You guys are awesome. We also just hit 5.5 million views on the channel, which is also pretty cool. And we're pushing 40,000 Twitch followers, which is also awesome. As it starts to rain outside, that's because we're taking all that positive sunny energy from outside and we're putting it into the stream today, apparently. And so it's got no choice other than to rain outside now. Feels bad, man. Alright, to the bottom right-hand side, our blue Terran player from Team Liquid. This is uThermal. Up against the red Zerg. To the top left-hand side, we have got Reynor. Game number 1 of this best of 3 series. As we do see, the early game TVZ, not much going to happen too crazy. It's not 3-rack Reaper like we saw Colors opening with earlier in this first game against Reynor. Interested to see what uThermal's going to be coming out with here as we do get this underway. Yeah, and thank you so much for the subs, guys. Thank you so very much. It's so awesome to be back above 500. A lot of them right now are gifted, but that's still awesome. I mean, I know sub count is a very fickle thing nowadays, but it is always nice when we can hop down and have a look at the subs and just be like, oh, cool, we're above 500 and sticking around there. It means the stream's doing well. And if the stream's doing well, Wardy's in a good mood and we put on loads of content and everyone's happy and it's just good times, you know? It's drone nearly going down, but a good spore crawler placed. Leave it in the chat. Exclamation mark replays. We're actually going to be doing a replay pack of this tournament in the next day or two, obviously either tonight or tomorrow. So if you are a subscriber, you will get a replay pack on the Discord server, exclamation mark Discord. Come and join us over there. And you will get a replay pack to be able to access all of the replays that happened in this tournament. So if that sounds good to you, then get yourself subscribed and get your hands on that. As this game underway, what's up, Flotch, with the 27 months? Thank you so much for the 27 months. Do appreciate it. Thank you so very much indeed. Very generous of you. As you do see the circling speed about halfway done at the moment. A few drones on the way up. Stimpack on the way down from uThermal after a pretty slow start. It's a 2-1-1, so uThermal doesn't even have Hellions on the map to apply pressure just yet. That's how slow of a start this is. But of course, it will heat up in the next minute when medevacs will be ready. And once medevacs are ready, these units will be able to get across towards the upper left-hand side and go and apply some pressure onto Reynor. Reynor going to come through, putting a Baneling that's down on the natural. Reaper from uThermal coming up in towards the main base. And a few Zerglings chasing that Reaper down. So a few Lings going to hunt that Reaper. And the Reaper is going to end up hopping down to the low ground here. And back up to the high ground, moving all over the place at the moment. Oop, Reaper does get caught and does get killed. A couple of queens coming down the left as we see the lair on the way up from Reynor in the main base. Engineering bay. Dropping down as part of this wall off here. A few marines coming forward as that supply depot. And SCV lost on it as well. Again, lair just about halfway done for the moment as those Zerglings pulling back up to the top left-hand side. And a couple of creep streamers continue to push out into the center. There go a couple of medevacs from uThermal. They're going to come over to the far left. They're about to complete from Reynor. 14 Zerglings on the way up, and those Marines beginning to unload on the push up the left-hand side in the next few moments. So, the Marines pressing forwards and going to be able to already actually pick off this Overlord. So Overlord going down, and this is the power of the 2-1-1 coming in. Zerglings are going to run in a few at a time, actually. Not many Queens over here either. We'll lose one of those Queens already. A couple more Zerglings die as they pop out. uThermal with a good push. Going into another Rax at home. More Marines. Starport did move off the reactor, so it is going to be building a new one, meaning that it's not going to be 2 more medevacs just yet. There's a siege tank's on the way out. Maybe he builds 2 more medevacs now and eventually still gets to 4 medevacs. Look at all of this Ling Bay and uThermal is forcing from Reynor. The more Lings he makes, the less drones he's making, the more uThermal players catch up in terms of worker counts. As there is no third CC from uThermal just yet either, as these Marines will go running away and just wants to stay out of reach of those Banelings especially. does boost out of there. Good control by uThermal. Barely anything lost. 4 Marines for the 23 Zerglings and the Queen that he got. That's really nicely done. And it stops any sort of creep spread on this left-hand side of the map as well. Keeps the Queens busy. Only creep really coming out through the center, but really leaves this third base very vulnerable to attack. Or even over here for the fourth base. Yeah, there's going to be creep here, but you're missing the creep spread here. So if this creep goes down, suddenly you have clear access to this base. And there's no creep up this way either. So uThermal has a lot of different directions he can attack on into. And Reynor's making even more Ling Bane, actually. As uThermal starts to come across the map, he's going to have combat shields, maybe even +1 attack here very shortly as well. 2 tanks inside. Reynor doing the correct thing of picking off these rocks. That's going to be absolutely critical for him to be able to have some success here. As the 2 tanks will just set up kind of close to each other. We'd like to see them split a little bit just in case some Banes do connect on them. Minimize that splash. Ling Bane ready to flank in already. uThermal being very patient with this, just sort of leaving the tanks there. He's going to pick one up and reposition it off to the side. Oh, he's got reinforcements, uThermal. He's actually going to find these units of Reynor. Probably a fight that he can't win. Sieges up a tank, though. I mean, he's going to get a couple Banes already. That's really nice. Getting a couple of these Banelings. And now, again, he knows it's there, right? So he can be prepared for that potential attack in. And again, Reynor's just being forced to build more Ling Bane. While uThermal, yes, a fairly late third base from him. But he's been able to reinforce, and I don't think you're ever meant to be able to reinforce with a push like this when Reynor sat out in the center of the map looking to catch reinforcements. That was extremely well done by uThermal. The siege tank position is very good as we're going to be seeing these Banes continue to roll on forwards. A lot of Ling Banes starting to run into this now, but well, the uThermal splits are absolutely spectacular to start this off. All of these Banelings are doing absolutely nothing. Finally, Banelings connect on more than 1 Marine on the top right side, and he gets about 3 or 4 kills, but that will be all. Now a couple more Banes are all that's really left over. He's morphing more in, but uThermal's applying pressure onto the third base, and Reynor is losing Banelings faster than he can make them. This hatchery looks as though it will go down before the Banelings are ready. I love the 2 Marines already split away. The Marines able to pick off this hatchery over the left-hand side. As we are going to be seeing uThermal coming back around into the center. Some more creep spread that can be cleaned out here. Lings, Banes, and Queens gathering up in the middle. A little bit more creep going down then. And this is uThermal just absolutely... This entire game from uThermal has been a masterclass of a 2-1-1 opening into a follow-up push. From the way he applied pressure, how patient he was, the way he dealt with his reinforcements getting across the map. Everything that Reynor tried to do, uThermal saw coming, prepared for GG. I mean, that was a really well played TVZ from uThermal. Really well played TVZ from uThermal. That was sick. Well, again, really appreciate it. Can we get some hype in the chat for Donflix, guys? Donation, a raid, gifted subs. I actually merch purchase. There's actually nothing else he can do to support today. He's literally done everything. What a legend. Bottom left-hand side, our blue Terran player up 1-0 in this best of 3. This is uThermal. And the top right, our red Zerg is Reynor. Wardy, do you sign the merch? No, the merch doesn't come from me. It comes from Streamlabs organize the merch, so they make it in their stores and they ship it out to you from them. If you were super interested in signed merch, I could definitely maybe sort something out, but like, I don't know if you really would care. So yeah. Sounds like a challenge, Donflix. What? Challenging him to do something more? There's literally nothing more you can do. He's done everything you can do to support. He's literally bought merch. He already follows the stream. He's raided. He's gifted subs. Boom. Donflix is the prime example of a viewer. What a legend. Thank you so much. What an awesome day today's turning out to be. It really is getting more and more rainy outside as the stream gets more and more awesome. As we do see this overlord coming across down to the bottom left-hand side. Getting this set to roll. Couple drones popping on out. Command center starting up on the natural expansion. So again, that command center up and running. SCV going to be able to throw down the supply depot here. And just getting this rolling. See what's going to happen. What town do I live in? I live near Newcastle in the northeast of England. It's a very rainy place right now. It's actually been, I mean, to be fair, we did have sunshine all day yesterday and for the start of today. Not really much more you could ask for than that, you know. Reaper Grenade bops a few drones around. Going to be coming through and looking for another, perhaps, is just, again, really good pressure. Drones not mining, drones building spores to defend themselves. Really good pressure with the initial Reaper here. So Reynor gets that link speed up and running, a few Zerglings coming forwards, and the Queen from Reynor 2 also setting up in towards this now. Yeah, and that link speed just going to be continuing along. As it does actually end up getting a drone kill. Might get two. Oh my god, it just had the health remaining to be able to build a spore. Has to do it with another one as well. A few links taking some more damage. Reaper going to end up backing away out through the top side. A couple more Hellions popping out, and uThermal starting to push forwards in towards the center of the map. Reaper coming around as well, and the Queen just hanging out over on the right hand side. And there's a couple of Hellions also going to come up, and obviously a very different opening from uThermal, as we do see him going into the Hellions. Straight up a difference from the last game, but also now the Cloak Banshee as well. So Hellion Banshee as an opener again definitely gives him some options as well. If he wants to play mech perhaps, it's definitely open to him from this opening. There's the armory, so we'll at least be seeing some Hellbats here early on. Some Marine poking its way through that Overlord to begin with. Layering a Baneling Nest, dropping down on the natural expansion extractor will build here as well on the right hand side. And this Overlord from Reynor taking quite a bit of damage as this Banshee starts to move out across through the bottom side of the map. And the armory coming up towards completion in the next few moments, so going to be done here in a few moments. As again the Zerglings just taking some presence on the map, moving around a little bit. I see 4 Banelings, 5 Banelings morphing in. With that layer on the way up. Again, Hellions setting themselves to potentially come around and get something done. They've morphed into Hellbats. The Banshees as well, some good potential damage, but I mean, there's already Banelings here, and with Banelings already here and the Queen's around, and it feels pretty good. I mean, the best you can hope for right now, I think, as uThermal is, well, this is good. The Banshee is getting the Banelings, because obviously there's no Spore Crawler between the bases, so the Queens can't shut that Banshee down. You're going to get some damage on the Queens as well. Probably not enough to really get any kills at all, but yeah, some good movements back and forth here so far, and again, that Banshee's just going to sit around for a bit longer, but with the Overseer here now, uThermal has to back away. A very patient play from uThermal that's really just forcing units and trying to slow Reynor down while he continues to build up into more Banshees, so he's going to continue using these as part of his army. More Banshees and then extra factories at home for that mech follow-up. Accidentally drops a mule down there as well. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you're meant to drop a scan and you drop the mule instead. Sometimes you're meant to drop the mule, but you're meant to like hotkey back to home, and then you click back across the map too soon and you actually mule down into the center of the map instead. There's 2 Banshees around the top side of the map. Hatchery drops in on the bottom right hand side from Reynor. So we'll be seeing uThermal with a couple of Banshees coming around the top right side. He's looking for openings, looking for opportunities. Queens for some reason attacking their own extractor for a moment. Ah, the Banshee's going to get caught. A bunch more Queens showing up, and uThermal will lose one of them. Number 1 will just sit here. Get the drone kill though, still just able to pick up a bit of damage, but that might just be it for the Banshees. Takes a Spore Crawler shot too, doesn't help it out. Goes super low, will survive. I mean, there's more Banshees on the way, so there's more potential aggression there. As the Cyclone's on the way up now as well, plus 2 vehicle plating, that mag field accelerated, and Infernal Pre-Igniter. This is the map that Kalazir opted to play this style on as well, if you remember that earlier game between Reynor and Kalazir that started off the day, so definitely makes this quite intriguing. As we do see the Hydra's Den. About halfway up at the moment from Reynor, Zerglings from Reynor running across over to the left-hand side of the map. A few more Banelings morphing in on the natural. Zerglings gathering together. +1 melee, +1 missile attack upgrade coming through for the moment, as we do see a couple more factories added on, so that's going to be 5 bases in total. Zerglings hanging out to the top side. Scan onto the natural here, and it's going to be seeing the Infernal Preigniter about to finish up that Mac field as well. All looking very good, as a couple of supply depots going to be finishing here, completing this wall off for uThermal. Going to be seeing a 4th command center dropping down as well, as Hellions pressing forwards. Going to be able to get a couple creep tumors. Pressing straight into the middle of the map. More and more creep being cleaned out at the moment. Cyclone locks on towards the Overlord as well. And again, still just pressing forwards. A few more Hellions moved into Hellbat, so kind of just going for this right now. Banelings do have speed, and there's a lot of them. Good split to begin with by uThermal. Feels like a lot of the Bane's not really doing much, and there's a lot more Hellbats where the first ones came from. That Blue Flame is ripping things to shreds at the moment, but as a few more Banelings connect in, the Hydra started to deal some damage. The Hellbat count will continue to drop. Most importantly, 16 SCVs go down on the other side of the map, so uThermal loses a lot of his economy during this, and that makes that obviously rebuilding becomes much more difficult for him. Imagine he didn't lose 16 SCVs during this. This would have been a good trade-off. Resources lost, you can see, is way better for uThermal, but currently is going to be mining that much less because of the workers he lost out on. 4th base was delayed a little while as well, gets that back on track, actually even puts down another command center here. Typically when uThermal plays this Hellion Cyclone style, he goes up to 80, 90 drones sometimes actually. So that's definitely worth keeping in mind, that this is not quite going as well for uThermal as you would maybe like it to. Hellions wolfing into Hellbats on the bottom, Cyclones coming through here as well. Banshee dealing some damage to this top side 5th base. And the Cyclones and Hellions just coming forwards. A couple of Banes coming in as well. Hydra's just getting picked away out, and a couple of lock-ons still coming through. There's not a lot here for uThermal though, so time to get away, but the Zerglings are going to catch those Cyclones as well. And that is going to be a good cleanup. Groove Spine's about 30 seconds away from finishing. More Zerglings on the way up. More Banelings morphing in. Looks like we're going to be seeing Reynor trying to bust through uThermal in the next few moments. uThermal might not have the units to really deal with this at all, actually. He's really low on the Hellion Cyclone count at the moment. Now he starts to build a siege tank, but I'm not sure if that's going to be in time. More Banelings morphing in. uThermal is moving to the top side for 4th base, but I'm just not sure if he'll ever really get that up and running. Bane's already crashing through the initial supply depots here. Cyclones splitting away, trying to minimize damage the Banelings are able to achieve. Banshee will not last long once this Overseer arrives. One shot of the Hydra takes it down, and he's kind of just missing enough units to really put up a fight, as Reynor running through, crashing in. 21 workers killed. This 3rd base goes down as well, most likely. If it doesn't go down, it's only because he's chasing the army away with other Hydralisks. But he will turn around, he will get that, so Reynor shutting this down and looking to tie this series up 1-1 in the quarterfinals. Looking to make a full 3-game series out of this, apparently. 13 more Banelings on the way out here, more Cyclones, plus 3 vehicle plating as well. All of this coming up as more Banes on the way out from Reynor as well. More and more and more and more units just pouring on out here, guys. As we've got Banelings, Hydralisks coming up through to the top side. We're going to be coming around and perhaps attacking into the left. Command center dropping down is going to be picked off here, so command center goes down. A few more Banelings going to be morphing in from Reynor, getting those up on the top side of the map. And again, here we go, Hydras, Banelings, Zerglings pushing forwards. Banelings coming in through the bottom side, and well, there's a couple of siege tanks set up. Obviously uThermal is in some real trouble because he doesn't have the money to keep on rebuilding, and as Reynor pushes through, there's only one tank left to really stop him from doing this. Okay, a couple more siege up as well. He doesn't even really need to go in range of all of these. He could just sit on this top side and kill the CC. He could also just push into that planetary fortress at this point if he wanted to as well. Reynor has so many options. Building 40 more Zerglings in the production tab there just for a moment. I was just going to be seeing the Cyclones locking on, a couple more Lingers going down. I wonder how different this would have looked if uThermal had been able to keep those workers alive on this side of the map, while he had this huge attack that was looking very successful for him over on the right-hand side. I feel like at that point he trades so well and he has a good amount of economy to match what his opponent's doing as well, that maybe actually Reynor just has some real trouble doing anything from that point because he'll be behind and struggling to get back into it perhaps. It's a very interesting question to ask, but I think what is sure for the moment is that this is not going to survive for uThermal. This top side base is going to go down. More hydras coming through. GG's called. And Reynor will tie this series up 1 into year 0. What a map this could be as we start to the top right-hand side. Our blue Terran player here from Team Liquid. This is uThermal. Up against the red Zerg opening pool first here on such a large map. We'll see what his plan may be. We've got Reynor. Looking to see what he can do as we jump on into this, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today here on the WardiTV channel. Much appreciated for you tuning in for some awesome StarCraft action. As we get this ready to roll. So again, spawning pool first, about halfway done. Psycho3214 in the chat's like, what, I missed the sub, poggers. Yeah, we had a little bit of a sub gifting spree before. You got caught in it, so happy you. GG's. Welcome to the family. Alright, so getting into this here, Reynor versus uThermal. 6 Zerglings and a Queen on the way up here to begin with for Reynor. There's that command center dropping down on the natural. A couple of refineries coming up as well. That barracks coming in at the front and setting on up towards this now. As you do see that drone just about halfway done from Reynor. This drone just about halfway done. Queen is going to be finishing in a few moments. As the command center first play from uThermal will get set up, it is just a little bit of a difference here, but on such a large map it has very low chances to really impact anything. In fact, it's going to be very good for uThermal against the pool first, because it means that he's going to have a Reaper to defend. But if CC is already finished, with an already finished CC, what are these Zerglings going to end up doing? Well, the answer, not really very much. The SCV saw the Zerglings as well, so uThermal's aware of the fact that they are out on the map and perhaps looking for some aggression, so you should be wary of that and should be able to deal with them as Zerglings running up the ramp. Reaper dealing some good damage to begin with. And the Zerglings are going to start going down. There's one of them picked off already. And the other Reaper, or the Reaper, continue to chase for Zergling number 2. Again, good job so far. As the barracks starts up a reactor. Factory going to lift and move to take the reactor in a moment or so. Starport dropping down in location. Again, that starport up and running. Factory will drop to the reactor. Barracks can move to the tech lab. And the first Hellions on the way out. I mean, year 0 is such a large map. For uThermal to let this one come through the veto system in a best of 3, he must have a good plan for it. I mean, a large map again, another good potential for Hellion Cyclone if he wants to try that style out again. I guess we should see here fairly shortly, as we do for the moment. Just have Reaper coming across, finally looking to try and pick up some information. 4 minutes of gameplay so far, and really not a lot going on because of the choice of the command center first, etc. Really slowing a lot of this down. So there's that Reaper checking that hatchery, which is about to finish. Hops up and has a little bit of a scout around in the natural as well. A couple of Zerglings still chasing that Reaper down. A few drones going to pop, and there is our Reaper from uThermal escaping up through the top side. Hellions coming across the map from uThermal as well. Command center will drop as part of this wall off here. Viking coming forwards. And already this Overlord taking quite some damage. Reynor taking a few hits from this. Meanwhile, Hellions have run by, and there's only a couple of Queens here ready to defend. One Hellion is still stuck with these drones. They are out in the open. 7 workers killed. Make that not quite 8. Zerglings still don't have link speed as well, by the way. Reynor also being a bit greedy himself this game. It's going to be finishing now, but that's 7 workers he lost. And again, only for 2 Hellions. uThermal will be happy with that. Initial round of aggression puts him up in worker count. And going into 2 more factories, it is going to be mech, but maybe a different style of mech, because he does build a Raven here early game this time. I wonder what you'll do with the Raven. Anti-armor missiles, obviously very good for Hellions to maybe deal some extra damage. Could use it as a way to harass with the auto turret. Interference Matrix isn't something we really see very much of against Zerg, unless you have the Raven up maybe super late game and you Matrix down Vipers or so. Like this, targets down a creep tumor, and that's going to be 25 energy the Zerg will have to spend once again on the creep spread. Reynor going into his melee upgrades here. It's just going to set up with that, and we saw that against Kelazur as well, going melee upgrades initially, and then going into the kind of the roaches and units to deal with the other units from that point on. Couple of 4s dropping down. So it's going to be very different from uThermal. It's going to be this 4-drop opening, so a completely different style of mech here to what we have been seeing. The 4-drop opening for mech was kind of a revolutionary moment in TVZ a year and a half or so ago, when Terran players realized that they could be very aggressive while opening up into mech and not just let the Zerg sit back and kind of do what they want for 10 to 15 minutes while the mech army builds up to maxing out. Now they could apply pressure with the 4s and so on, they could deal some damage early. It really kind of revitalized mech in the matchup, and then of course more recently the Hellion Cyclone style. It's a similar idea. You're active on the map while playing mech in the early stages, and because you're active on the map, it keeps the Zerg busy. It doesn't just let them build up into however many drones they want in their own late game, which then could maybe be difficult to deal with. Raven making sure that it's never stopping moving. Some say if that Raven stops moving, it will instantly combust. That's how much power is stored inside of it. Fucking Terran units, man. So powerful, it's crazy. Hydra's Den drops down in the back. He cancels something to build the Hydra Den. Not sure if that was a misclick or... He got 100 gas back for it. So quite a bit. There we go, a couple of 4s coming down. I mean, this is the typical sort of 4 Hellbat attack that we saw a lot of back when the 2 4 drops were popular. Drops an auto turret or 2 down as well to help out, tanking quite a bit. Second 4, for whatever reason, was taking a long time to come into play here. Now starts to come forwards. And a lot of these Banes won't do much, and this is only Lean Bane from Reynor, who I feel has been a little bit in the dark as to what he's actually playing against here. Good pickup on that 4 as it gets low. Zergling's now running in though, saves that 4 last moment, but he loses 1 medevac, so he'll only be able to get 1 4 out of here alive. And it will be this 4 in the back, lifts that up. Well, Reynor loses quite a few queens. Ooh, grabs the Raven as well, nice little pick off. It did stop moving, so it deserved to die. Well, you can see it's good damage from uThermal, and he doesn't really have the Hellions to continue though. Otherwise, these couple of tanks showing up might have been kind of annoying. Reynor throws down an infestation pit, and I wonder if that was his plan originally before he decided to go Hydraless Den. He's probably going to go a Swarmer Host, Lingbane, Hydra here. Very large map, so you've got a lot of time for those locusts to regenerate on the Swarmer Host after firing them before the Terran can counterattack. uThermal though, overall, I mean, when we look at resources lost, you can see how good this last fight was for him. 1,200 resources in his favor. Going up into more command centers, continuing to set up. Work accounts are good from both sides as well. 75 to 70 means uThermal. He's happy with that, you know. As long as he's trading well, this is a good position for him. As I was wrong about the Swarm Hosts. Actually going to be throwing down the Hive. So Viper's going to be the choice of play instead. Perhaps because, well, uThermal's going to switch up into Cyclones now, so I actually don't really know. He doesn't have Magfield Accelerator. I guess the Magfield doesn't make much of a difference when you're not fighting against any armored units. Things not armored, Hydras not armored. So yeah, maybe that will be something to help out. As you do see a bit of a push through the bottom side. With this many Lings, obviously the Hellion count is really important as well. Make sure you're able to deal with that nicely as a couple of these creep tumors going down the bottom side. This is where the 5th base from Reynor will generally be placed, so uThermal will try and just stop this position from being established too easily. The more creep you get rid of here, the easier further pushes on this side becomes. Reynor with a huge Ling counter-attack, or is it just going to turn around and go for a surround here? It may very well. You can see there's the 5th base trying to come down, but the tank does force the cancel. Reynor didn't know this army was still here until that siege tank forced the cancel on the hatchery, so it turned out to be quite okay. There's a few Vipers now on the way up on the main base. Zergling's still setting up into kind of the center of the map here. A couple of creep tumors going down. Another cancel on this base. Reynor is still in range of a siege tank. Would you believe it? Obviously, uThermal just not backing away at all. A lot of reinforcements from uThermal back at home as here we go. Now Reynor makes a move forwards. uThermal will siege up whichever tank he can. Picks up the other one to the high ground. I mean, there's just not a lot here for uThermal, so this is kind of him just being very overzealous, I think, just sitting in this bottom left corner for way too long. Then again, if you start moving away, it's going to be seen by Reynor, and if you get seen, well, then it is some problems. So the question is, was that worth what happened? Well, probably not. You can see the turnaround in resources lost from a 1,000 advantage to uThermal It's actually still 900 or so, but it's still a little worse than it was before. And Cyclones pressing forwards. And this is, I guess, the scary part of this army now from uThermal, as it's gathered up together a little bit. Fusion Core and 2 more starports. Looking towards perhaps a battlecruiser switch up here. Moving on, those tanks only got 1 shot off while this army came through that choke point, which is a shame because it really had a lot of potential. Nice abduct on the medevac as well. uThermal definitely not trading well the last few moments, I feel. Reynor doing better and better, and that resource has lost now only 250 behind. uThermal actually has a few more SCVs, and he'll lift up this base to go straight down to a 5th. Actually going to take that in the forward position. If you can hold the forward base, these bottom right base comes very easily, and the bottom base still not going to be easily taken. He's actually got a command center to go in each of those directions. He's going to build up these bottom runs. Okay, well, he had a lot of minerals spare. 160 supply from uThermal, not maxed out. But again, he has got the starports with tech labs on them with a fusion core up. Battlecruisers could be the switch here if you can find enough gas to afford that, but it's really expensive, and he is low on money because he is obviously still building up Hellion Cyclone tank to survive up until this point. Now a Great Aspire about to finish up from Reynor. Bottom left hand side, Cyclone attack deflected. This hatchery took quite a bit of damage, but still alive. As uThermal just sat on the center, but he does have a fast moving army, and those Zerglings do not last very long at all as the Hellions get to work. Wings and Banes into the center, and still just going to be seeing another Zergling getting picked off. Cyclones over here. I mean, the problem is the Cyclones just don't do brilliantly against these Zerglings, and they're kind of trapped in as the Banelings come in from the other side. Now these Hellions on the high ground get taken down too, and I kind of feel like Reynor's just going to swarm this army. uThermal is losing way too much here and there, and a couple of Banelings now going to crash into that tank as well. This base is going to be pushed back. Suddenly the Vipers are showing up too, so they've not even had to use their energy yet, as uThermal supply way down at the moment. So we're seeing the Cyclone getting abducted in a little bit. Just going to be seeing Banes just keep connecting, and uThermal's army is just falling apart here. This is the problem with this style. One little mistake or a couple of bad positions, and all of a sudden it completely falls apart. Reynor's done well to capitalize on every opportunity, cleaning out multiple armies very well after the first attack was very scary. And it looks as though Reynor's probably got enough to push himself through into the semi-finals here. Although Lenovo Legion Invitational, Banes and Hydras, Lings as well coming forwards, SCV's getting blown up. It's going to be GG. Reynor takes game number 3 of this series. A 2-1 victory for Reynor here today, and he'll advance through to those semi-finals as previously mentioned.